My group is very compliant, so what we did was just an overview of the session business strategy, which was very incisive. So we are going to have a group presentation, and I'm going to hand over to my team subsequently to make the presentation. If you look at this slide, business strategy, what you see is a stage of development or growth, okay, from the small to the big. And what that simply means is that with your business strategy, you can grow your business.
Very good.
And it's good that we're entrepreneurs. We all have visions. We all have targets. And what can help us achieve that is the business strategy. What we've learned so far is that the concept of business strategy covers the following. Number one, strategy are competitive moves and business approaches that managers are employing to grow their businesses. It attracts and please customers, compete successfully, conduct operations as an error, achieve targeted levels of organizational performance. So it looks at the end-to-end from the beginning to the end, which is customer satisfaction, profit maximization, as well as efficiency and effectiveness. Now, putting the pieces together and solving the puzzle, what is strategy versus business model? We have clearly been taught in this class that strategy is the bigger picture, looking at the entire organization, looking at the vision, the mission, the objectives of the organization. Well, the truth is, how does that translate into profitability, into efficiency, into turnaround, into maximization of resources? The business model, which includes revenues and costs, flowing from this strategy, demonstrates how a business can be profitable. So that is the relationship. The first is to lay the foundation, deal with a company's competitive initiatives and approaches, and then the business model now talks about the revenues and costs flowing from the strategy. And if you look at what we did yesterday, a bulk of what we did yesterday was trying to create a business model, the model for profitability and also efficiency. So we strategic leadership, which talks about managing the company strategy, making process, strategy formulation, that is determining and selecting strategies, and then strategy implementation, putting strategies into action to improve the company's efficiency and effectiveness. The elements of strategy, first of all, we need to have a strategic vision. Where do we want to be? What is the big picture? What is that aspiration? What is the dream? Secondly, the mission. Okay? And then we have the objectives. And that leads you to crafting the strategic vision statement and mission statement. Then you have implementation. You have monitoring and evaluation. And then you have the review as needed in light of actual performance. That is in reality, which is more like a strategy review process where you review the strategy and then back to the same cycle. So you find out that it's a process, which means that it is continuous. From time to time, you must review your strategy of this slide.
Said when we started, but we're talking about what are the things we want to do? What do we really want to do? What do we want to do? When are we going to do it? When do you want to enter into the market? When do you want to enter into the business? You want to enter into the business where you have competitive edge. You don't bring a product when it's not going to be accepted. Where are you going to locate it? Where are you going to locate your business? Where exactly do you want to locate it, and why are you locating it there? How do you choose your team? Who are the people that are going to be there? Who are your stakeholders? Who are the people that are going to invest in it? Where do you get your who? You answer all the who's through this strategic process. You want to know, and how are you going to, okay, we're also talking in the course of the discussions on business strategy. We talk about belief system audit. What is that about? We have theological belief system that is talking about the structures and rules. Talking about structures and rules. What kind of structures are you going to put in place? What kind of rules are you going to have? You don't enjoy change and feel more in control. Those are the kind of things that you feel. Then there is also legal belief system. You enjoy power. That's trying to see the kind of person you are, authority, control of money. Adaptation to change. Are you the type that can change? Are you the type that can look at the environment and look at what is there and be able to adapt to it? Psychological belief system. Change and being in control of the factors that rule your life. The business is about us, it's about the entrepreneur. You do not like rules and working with other people. So that means you have to look at the business that you can do that is around those kind of belief system.
Now, the belief system audits and the process were developed by Professor Lloyd Williams. Now, talking about mission development, I'll call on our colleague to talk about this.
To us, some business strategy is we saw that basically the most important thing, because you capture that and then you can run with the business. What do I mean? I mean, your vision is a picture of the tomorrow that you have in your head today. So once you're able to concretize that into a few words, precise, sharp, and easily memorizable by everybody within the company helps. It means that on a day-to-day basis, when people from the man at the gate to the CEO, everybody within the organization has a picture of where we're going in their heads, and it helps. Now, in what we discussed, we saw that it's a statement there of where they want to be. Even from the beginning, they set out to paint that picture in their heads, and they're running with it. It's 100% commitment and passion to produce standard, healthy products with value based on nourishment and satisfaction. Now, what this helps them to do within the company is from those who drive the vans, from those who mix, from those who bake, everybody within the organization. Ideally, the mission statement should be
strategy settled. Now, you must look at the business lines. The lines of business are more like the typical departments, that you operate within the structure of the organization. You have manufacturing, you have finance, you have production, you have marketing, you have research and development. Those are typical examples of business lines you have within an organization. And it's important that they are identified for clear strategic profile. Now you look at the human resources strategy in terms of employees, the people, the policies, the remuneration framework, and also the HR framework. The integration of business lines and human resource strategy is achieved through the functional strategic modeling, because that integration means that the business lines and the human resource capacity of the employees within the organization are integrated, ensuring efficiency and effectiveness is being achieved, for the sustainability of the organization. Also, the concept of performance audit also applies here, where you are looking at a step-by-step assessment of each business lines to see whether they are performing, whether they are efficient, whether they are effective. And so you must do that performance audit in order to know whether you can shut down certain business lines, either because they are not profitable or because they do not meet the strategic goal that has been designed. A gap analysis here is also very important, because in gap analysis, what you're doing is that you are looking at the gaps that exist between the lines of business and the human resources. Now, from the beginning of civilization, practical experience has shown that the management of human beings is the most tasking aspect of management, because human nature is so complex. Now, most organizations have run down because the employees who are meant to run the business lines, some of them do not have the requisite skill, the competencies to achieve objectives and targets that have been set. So a gap analysis clearly tells you the strengths, weaknesses, and gaps of certain employees who are supposed to run the business lines. Because business lines exist as structures where human beings manage. They're like an organizational structure where you have boxes and then you have people who are there to drive the business. Now, how well is the organization doing? How well is our employees doing? Those are the big picture objectives. You integrate the functional outcome, and then implementation is very key. Marketing, operational, rollout of the strategic plan. You could set up a strategic planning committee, where you meet quarterly, monthly, or bi-weekly, depending on the nature of the strategic issues that are facing the organization. The strategic planning committee would comprise of executive management, the heads of the business lines, and also critical staff to ensure that the strategic plans are being monitored and reviewed. And then you revisit the plans and also do a process assessment. Okay, we also talked about Congress modeling, and these are the key elements: gap analysis, outcome review, integrate outcome, Congress implementation. We are told that we did this, but what we did here in our class as a mark of putting together our thoughts, we just put together this slide, showing Congress strategy versus traditional strategy, and we debated it in class. And these are some of the summaries. We found that the Congress strategy is more detailed as compared to the broad approach of the traditional model. It's bottoms up because it involves the employees, top down, bottoms up. But in the broad traditional model, it is top down. You have all employees are involved in the Congress strategy. But in the case of the traditional model, it is defined by executive management. The CEO knows it, he drives it, and he doesn't care about people down there. And then implementable, the Congress strategy is implementable with clear roadmaps. But this is not so in the case of the traditional model. Now, in terms of accountability management, our colleague will just talk briefly. We're running up now. Yes.
That's the definition. Doing what you are saying. It talks about you setting goals and then communicating with all of the people involved in this strategy and ensuring that you're achieving it. It's a strategy of choice for performance. You realize that more effective work is done when employees create their own strategies, when there is good communication, and you realize that trust will always generate collaboration, teamwork, which will always drive your strategies. To be accountable, you're simply looking at yourself as the ownership of the business. You're looking at your deficiencies and your success stories. Now you have what can inhibit you, what can stop you. You've got the blame game, the shame story, you've got jealousy. When conflicts happen and you don't resolve them, you're stopping your accountability process. And what can stop these inhibitors? You've got to involve staff in planning, involvement in proper scheduling, involvement of staff in training, involvement in generating new processes. They feel like they're part of the company, and you see the drive. You've got a diversified work model and good strategy execution, strategy success.
Okay. The competency audits, SWOT analysis. Now, there's something we did here as part of research. Now, look at, we're told about the pests, P-E-S-T, if you look at your notes. P is political, E is economical, S is social, T is technology. But as part of our research, we added L-E, because there's a global perspective now, we're talking about the pestle. P-E-S-T-L-E, you must look at your legal and environment. So you can add this to your husband, as part of our research.
And in summary, the super team wants to tell you this morning that business strategy is the legal room from which your business delivery comes. Thank you.
Observations.